Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 503. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakeshaw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. This week on the show, we'll be reviewing You'll Never Find Me, which is streaming on Shudder right now. We'll also be going over some we're watching on the Watchlist and this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. And I think we can just get straight on into the review. We're talking about You'll Never Find Me. This is directed by Indiana Bell and Josiah Allen. I have a synopsis here. Patrick, a strange and lonely resident, lives in a mobile home at the back of an isolated caravan park. After a violent thunderstorm erupts, a mysterious young woman appears at his door, seeking shelter from the weather. The longer the night wears on and the more the young woman discovers about Patrick, the more difficult she finds it to leave. Soon she begins to question Patrick's intentions, while Patrick begins to question his own grip on reality. Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of You'll Never Find Me?
Oh man, that last bit right there begins to question his own grip on reality. That's where this movie lost me.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, in some ways, it feels like a throwback. Like this type of like narrative twist seemed to be like super prevalent, like in the like 80s, 90s, like early 2000s, and then it just kind of died off, which I appreciated that it died off. So this feels like slightly like a throwback to one of those types, but it lost me there. But up until that point, I gotta say, this movie is like exceptionally well made.
Mm-hmm.
It was taut as hell. The sound design, whoever did like all the sound work, the mixing, just everything about it is just phenomenal.
Yeah. I have
Writing's
that written.
great.
Yeah.
Performances, like everything about it is great. Just that narrative twist just undoes a lot of it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I have written down here to highlight the sound because it is phenomenal. It's one of the first things you notice about the movie, and it is so prevalent throughout. And it is like the sound is just at the forefront of this movie, and it is so well done. It's quite good. Like I would say, award worthy. Like this movie, just the sound is top notch. And yeah, I completely agree with you. Everything up until the final act, when things get revealed, I feel like it just completely falls apart. And it's one of those movies where like you can kind of see it going that way, but the whole time you're just really hoping that it doesn't go that way because everything up until that point, like the build up is so strong, and it's an incredibly tense movie. It's suspenseful. It's a slow burn, but the tension just keeps ratcheting up as these two have these like kind of sparse conversations, and you're slowly being like drip fed information, and it's a great build up, but unfortunately, even the poster kind of telegraphs where this is heading, and it's just it's unfortunate. Because I feel like it just really unravels a lot of the goodwill that this movie gives you in the beginning and throughout. Like it just sucks. It really sucks.
It does. It really does. Because man, it is doing so well, and it has those little pieces where you're like, oh, this could go somewhere very interesting, and I really hope that it does. But you're right. Like once it starts to unveil some of these things, you're just like, damn it, why did we go that route? Literally anything would have been better, I think.
And the thing is, like, when the kind of tension and intrigue is at its height, you could see it going like there are a couple like deviations where you're like, oh, maybe because like this mysterious woman, she seems to have secrets of her own, and like, oh, is it gonna go take this turn because you're suspicious of the guy from the beginning, but then you start to think, well, maybe she's hiding some things, maybe she's like the perpetrator here. But yeah, I mean, so it's unfortunate because it's like you could see a few different outcomes, but like it turns out to be the most obvious and disappointing one, which is like
Hmm.
that's like kind of the worst.
Yeah, and then also, like, not only that, but then on top of that, once you start to like, when now knowing what you know, and then kind of going back to some of the stuff that happened prior, it just like a lot of it doesn't work because
No.
it's like
Nope.
there's early signs early on where it's like, oh, she knows something, like she seems to have some inclination or some sort of knowledge, right?
Hmm.
And then once it's revealed, it's like, well, yeah, she should have a lot more knowledge.
She
Like
should
what?
have all. She should have all
All
of
of
the
it.
knowledge.
Every single piece of knowledge that you could have, you should have. So it just kind of feels weird. And then also on top of that, just the what what it represents and everything, it's just like I don't feel like that person would have that. Which is kind of hard to discuss without like because everything hinges on that twist, right? And it's kind of
Yeah,
hard not to talk about with revealing that twist. But I just don't see that person having that issue. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, I think maybe we'll just do a very short spoiler discussion at the end of this. So people who want to hear or people who saw it can, so that we don't have to tiptoe around that twist. But yeah, I think we'll do a quick spoiler talk and throw it at the end of the show. But before we get into that, was there anything else like non-spoiler related that you wanted to get into?
No, I just want to reiterate the sound design. Like it's just incredible between the storm and then mixing like the torrential downpour and the wind gusts and the howling winds with
The
like the
creaks,
floorboards creaking
yeah, the
and like
creaks and the cracks and the
the whispering, like you kind of hear voices, all that stuff is just like the atmosphere in this movie is just incredible. And the writing's well done, performances well done. Like everything about this is just so good. So good. It's just really disappointing.
yep. It's almost like the movie High Tension all over again, where it was just I was so deeply embedded into it and then just falls apart.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give it a score. Um, this is so hard for me
Hmm.
because it. I really hated the end. Like I just really did not like the end, and it, part of it was like because it was so strong. It was like one of those things where like, okay, you're really gonna have to stick this landing. Like like some there's a lot of movies that do that, specifically horror movies that have a really interesting kind of hook and
Oh yeah. And especially
lots
when
of
you do the slow burn
yeah.
approach. You're like, man, you really gotta pay this off because we really haven't been doing a whole lot for quite some time.
Yeah. I still want to kind of give it a light recommend. So like I still feel like I need to get it over that like threshold. So of like if you're going by Rotten Tomatoes measurements, like I'd still want to give it probably a fresh rating. So like I would probably give it like a 6. Feels too strong for me, but I think that I would probably I think I'd give it a 6 just to keep it in that like fresh territory.
I think I would probably have to agree. Like, yes, I'm with you on the man, I really, really did not like where it went. Uh, but like I said, everything up until then, like this is an exceptionally well made film. So much
And
so that I'm very excited to see what they do next. Because it's like, man, this movie alone is like 80% of it is just top notch stuff.
and also the other thing of note is that even after they do the reveal and you realize what's going on and it's like oh man, like it still has pretty strong visual, like a strong visual component, and like all of those technical aspects are still there. It's just, after it doesn't hit as hard after you realize, or after the reveal occurs. So
Yeah, but there's definitely craft in what's happening here, like
yeah,
cinematography wise, framing, lighting, just everything about it.
absolutely. So, all right, that's You'll Never Find Me. Again, if you want to listen to some spoilers, just tune in to the end of the show. We'll tack it on there. All right, let's talk about some more watching. I think it's your turn this week, Kevin.
Oh, I'm gonna hit you with the Carl Franklin
Uh-oh.
movie from 1992, One False Move. Bill Paxton, Billy Bob Thornton, Cinda Williams, Michael Beach. Man, this is written by Billy Bob and Tom Epperson. Billy Bob's got a nice ponytail in this. And man, is this movie just it's so good, so fucking good. Performances are great. The screenplay alone is just like it's so lean and just straight to the point. Perfect amount of tension. The escalating of these criminals, where it's Ray Malcolm and Pluto, played by Billy Bob, and Michael Beach. Michael Beach is, man, he is ruthless. He likes this knife. He likes to stab people. I mean, he really likes to stab people. Like he loves it. And they rip off some drug dealers, and then they're going across the country trying to meet up with this guy to sell the drugs, and then they're going to go their separate ways. But Cinda Williams has to stop off in, I think it's Arkansas, like to see her family, and that's where Bill Paxton is. He's the sheriff of this little small town,
Mm-hmm.
and LAPD come out to kind of help him, and Bill Paxton he's kind of jazzed up, man. It's like this is the big times, so he's a little bit too jazzed up, a little overzealous. He wants to make these LAPD guys happy. And man, just everything about this is just phenomenal. The cinematography, the pacing, the screenplay, performances, just everything. Can't recommend this highly enough.
I love Paxton's character in this, where he's like, he plays this small town sheriff so well.
He does, because he's kind of dumb, but at the same time, he's not. You know what I mean? Like
he is just such a people pleaser.
yeah,
Like he's just such a friendly kind of Barney Fife type. Well, but he is. I would say he's like smarter than a Barney Fife.
yeah. Like he's smart for the area that he's working in. If you take him out, like if you were because he wants to go to LA, and
Right.
join the force, there, it's not going to work. But Star City, Arkansas, he's the smart guy.
Yeah. Yep. Big fish in a small pond.
Correct.
I love this. I loved this movie too. We covered this on the 90s podcast a while back. This movie's fantastic.
So good. And I kind of forgot, like I haven't watched Billy Bob in something in a long time. But man, Billy Bob was just on fire back then. It's like he could do no wrong.
I know. Like he had, yeah, he was pretty great.
It's like he just understood movies like at a like molecular level.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, cool. That's One False Move. Check it out. Absolutely. Totally worth it. One that's not really worth it is Roadhouse. This is directed by Doug Liman. That's right. I saw the new Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
It's 2 words, not just 1 word. That lets you know that it's different. Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
And that's sort of a joke. It's sort of a joke in the movie itself.
No,
it's
really?
a roadhouse, and the name of the roadhouse is Roadhouse.
But when it's the name of the roadhouse, is it 1 word, Roadhouse?
No, it's 2 words.
Okay.
So it's a roadhouse, 1 word, but the name of the roadhouse is Road Space House. That's the joke. That's the joke. That's the gag. So what you have here is Jake Gyllenhaal playing this ex-UFC fighter who is, he's he's down on his luck. He did something terrible, and he is sort of punishing himself for it. He's doing like these kind of underground bare knuckle fights, and then he gets a job offer from this woman who owns this roadhouse in the Florida Keys, and basically she's like, these we're just having all kinds of issues with these this gang of ruffians who comes in every night, trashes the place, starts fights, etc. Looking, we need to hire somebody to take care of this place. So he reluctantly agrees. And that's kind of the movie. There's more things that get uncovered where, like, they're trying to this gang is being brought in to try to get them to sell the roadhouse because they want to build this like condo or something on the land. It's bad. The writing is bad. The action choreography is way too stylized. I mean, this is a movie that is supposed to be like just kind of this brutal, bar fights, just scrappy bar fights. But what you have here is like really hyper stylized, very meticulously choreographed fight scenes that are akin to John Wick or one of these other modern action movies, the Bourne movies, whatever. And it just doesn't really fit within, I think, the vibe of a movie like Roadhouse.
I was wondering because even the trailer when he like slaps the guys, I was like, this looks bad. Like this does not look good.
The fight scenes are not. I mean, they're well shot and everything. I just don't think that they mesh well with this. So you have Conor McGregor in here as sort of he's like the heavy. He's like kind of the main henchman guy. He's this like really unhinged fighter, and he's bad in it. They shouldn't have got. I get why they got Conor McGregor. Like he kind of fits within the theme of the movie, but like he's just not very good in it. He's not as bad as I kind of expected him to be, but his character is just awful. Like he's such a dope in it. The one positive that I will say is that I liked Jake Gyllenhaal's performance a lot, and I liked his character a lot. It's not the type of character that you would expect. He's like kind of goofy in a lot of ways. Like he's super charismatic, very funny. Like he's always cracking jokes and stuff. Really good character. And Gyllenhaal did a really great job with the role. That's really the only positive that I can say about it. The rest of it is just pretty generic stuff. So can't recommend Roadhouse. But if you do want to see it, it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Didn't expect much.
Yeah, no, I mean, we kind of knew that going in. The only other thing I saw was Dream Scenario.
All right, yeah.
Nicolas Cage. This was a disappointment. This was a letdown for me. I will give it the premise of this is phenomenal. It's just such a great fucking idea. But what they use that idea to kind of, discuss on screen just did not work for me. And it just all kind of like once it got past the like, he shows up in everyone's dreams, right? And once that's kind of established and he tries to kind of capitalize on that, it just all started going downhill for me because just where they took it just didn't work. It didn't feel like it had anything new to say, but that lead up, the eking out that premise and the build up to that premise was fantastic. It just unfortunately fell apart after that. But I will say Nicolas Cage is fucking great in it. God,
I loved his character.
He's so good in this. So good in this. I wish it was just a little bit more. Just wish it had something different to say. It just felt kind of dated in a way.
Yeah, I mean, how many movies have we seen that deal with like internet fame and cancel culture at this point and stuff like that?
and like memification of everything,
Yeah.
and just especially when it got to the what was it,
The nightmares.
the young woman that was like, oh,
Oh, that
I
whole.
fantasize, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh Jesus Christ, here we go.
Yeah. That's another one that I feel like didn't quite stick the landing for me.
Yeah, just it was so close though. It's such a great idea, you know?
It is. It is a great idea. I
And it's
loved the beginning.
and that's the other thing that gets me. Like, not only is it a great idea, but like literally, who would be the best fucking actor to act
Exactly.
that? It's Nicolas Cage, you know? And it just like you have all the fucking pieces, like they're there, but it just didn't work.
Yeah. All right. That's Dream Scenario. The only other one that I'll mention is Out of Darkness. This is directed by Andrew Cumming. This is a movie about it takes place in the Stone Age, and you got this group of like nomadic uh, people who are trying to find an area that is fertile, that they can like plant and make, just live. They're just trying to live. They're trying to eat. There's no food, cold. There's dangers lurking everywhere, and they're heading. I don't know. They're heading west or somewhere in order to find a better place to live. And on their way, they end up going up against what they believe to be some sort of creature who starts to kill them one by one. Um, and I didn't like this movie. I will say that it looks like visually incredible. Like the cinematography. I mean, like 90% of the cinematography is just the location. I believe it was shot in like Scotland. And so you have these like really lush forests, and like it almost looks like Iceland, where you have these kind of rolling hills and moss and stuff like that. So it looks great. I mean, it is a very great locations, etc. But the movie itself just didn't quite work for me. It just wasn't very interesting. Like it was just, they speak this like made up language, and it just like the characters are not particularly interesting or endearing. And then when you discover what the creatures are, you're just like, oh, okay. Well, I kind of expected that. I was hoping that they were gonna like throw a curveball at you, and it was gonna be like raptors or something. Like it was gonna be dinosaurs,
Oh yeah, that'd be fucking
and
awesome.
it was like a creationist take on the Stone Age, but no. Um, it's violent. There's some kind of disturbing sequences, but overall, I was a little bit meh on it. I think it's kind of forgettable. Well shot, but eh. Other than that, nothing great here. Out of Darkness, the
Out of
name of it.
Darkness. I do want to talk about one more thing, just in case I don't finish this movie. Because I
Okay.
started this movie. All right. I
Okay.
started a movie, if you can remember this, called Calamity of Snakes.
I remember. Yes, I do remember Calamity of Snakes.
So finally, this is on Tubi, 1982. Calamity of. I gotta watch this thing. It's available. You gotta fucking do it. All right. So it starts off that they're doing construction for this like luxury apartment complex, right? And the head honcho shows up at the work site, and he's like, I need this done like in 2 weeks. And the foreman's like, dude, we can't do that. Like, you have to cut safety corners. Like, it's just not possible. Like, it's gotta be a secure, safe building. And he's like, fuck that. No. Cut corners. We just gotta get this luxury apartment done. So as they're like having their discussion, they're digging out, this like rectangle hole, right? And everyone starts freaking out. They're like, there's so many snakes fucking everywhere. And, boom, cut shot over top. The whole thing's just filled with snakes and eggs. Just so many fucking snakes everywhere. just writhing on top of each other. And first thought I have is they delivered. That is a calamity of snakes. You know what I mean? Like it says it on a tin,
Mm-hmm.
and they delivered within the first 5 minutes, right? So things are looking good. Now, things take a turn because they're like, everyone grab something, kill these snakes. And it's just real live snakes, and they like start killing snakes for like a full 3 minutes. And they're just
Like
literally killing snakes.
I hate that.
So it's like snakes, it's usually like one snake, and it's just a guy hitting it with like a shovel or a spade, cutting it up, just smashing it, blood everywhere. And you're like, okay, like this is kind of difficult to watch. And it's intercut with the other scene. It's just the guy using the backhoe to just smash the snakes in the rectangle hole. Blood fucking everywhere. Like I was seriously getting sick to my stomach because it was just that for like 3 minutes non-stop. And I was like, I don't know if I can take this anymore. Like I'm gonna throw up. This is fucking disgusting. And I don't even really like snakes. But I finally get past that and I'm like, okay, well hopefully that's just that they get you hooked in. Snakes are gonna get their revenge, so I'm gonna hang in there. Well, then, like a scene or two later, is like a guy just like skinning a snake alive and just like
Oh,
fucking gutting it and shit. And I was just like, I can't. I just turned it off. I was like, I can't do it.
I hate that shit. Like, you know, that's like the like Cannibal Holocaust and Cannibal Ferox movies where it's like, you know, they'd be decent movies if it didn't include real animal killing in there. That's
Yeah,
just, you know, for shock value. That's
I
just
know.
unnecessary.
It is, and it was like it was physically making me sick. But I
That
am like
sucks.
they get their revenge because they don't kill all the snakes, and the snakes get their revenge. So I kind of would like, is it over? Can I go back? Because I would like to see the snakes kill them now. I feel like
They're
I owe
probably
it to the snakes.
yeah, but the thing is, like, they're probably the snakes probably aren't going to kill everybody. So you know,
Probably not, but
the
goddamn,
humans
I hope
probably
they
win
do.
in the end.
Uh,
Well, that's
even a snake
unfortunate.
man. Well, it does say that soon thousands of killer snakes, under the lead of a giant boa, kill all the new inhabitants. Even a snake master can't stop them. So maybe
Okay, maybe they do get their revenge.
they do win.
I feel like there's that with movies like that, they should have just a warning at the beginning or something that's like, hey, you know, just so you know, there's
Yeah,
going to be some real animal killing in this movie.
yeah, and I kind of should have known going into it, 1982. But I was hoping that it would be like, oh, terrible effects, like rubber snakes. You're just like kind of laughing, like, look at that.
I wouldn't have thought that with this movie because this is what Hong Kong. Is it a
Mm-hmm.
yeah? If it was Italian, I'd be like, yeah, for sure. There's gonna be some snake killing for sure. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess with Hong Kong cinema, I don't associate real animal killing with that. Maybe it's just I haven't seen enough horror films from that era, Hong Kong. Anyway, that's unfortunate. Calamity of
mm-hmm.
Snakes.
If you can handle that.
If you're okay with it, it's like what was that? Wake and Fright. There's the kangaroo killing scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like it's so unfortunate because like I love Wake and Fright, but like
Yeah.
that one scene, man, it just that's like. I mean, I guess I could just like skip over it if I wanted to rewatch it, but it's unfortunate. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. We got In the Land of Saints and Sinners. That's a new Liam Neeson one.
Mm.
You know, the thing is, like, I'm sure that some of these Liam Neeson ones are decent, but the fact is, he's dropping them, continues to drop them so frequently that you never know because they all kind of look the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least with Nicolas Cage, you see a trailer, you can kind of gauge which one of the Nicolas Cage type movies it's gonna be, you know.
Yeah.
But with Liam Neeson, you just never know. You could probably say the same about Jason Statham too. Actually,
Yeah,
you just
but
you
I
just
think
never know which way it's gonna go.
yeah, and I mean I don't watch any of either of them really, but at least to me Statham is more of a watchable person.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yep. We also have Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire,
Mm, this looks
which
good.
we
God,
we
this
talked
looks
about this before on the show. It looks absolutely dog shit.
it sure
Um,
does.
like the even the poster, how they gave it's like Godzilla has this like kind of pink mohawk, like his spines are they made him pink.
Yeah.
He's like a badass. It
Fucking
just looks so it just looks so awful. Like the CG looks terrible. Like just watch Godzilla -1. Like that will that one will give you your kaiju fix.
But I also love the fact that they include three helicopters.
Oh yeah.
Like those three helicopters are they're gonna help out so much.
They're leading they're leading them. They're
Mhm.
leading Godzilla and Kong because Godzilla and Kong are they for some reason need helicopters to be like which way do we go here? Where's the monster that we need to kill? Ugh, awful. Just awful. Um moving on to VOD, we have The Oath coming out. We have Wages of Fear on Netflix. And yes, this is a remake of the original Wages of Fear, which is
Sure.
which in and of itself got a remake with Sorcerer.
Hmm.
I can't imagine that this one could be anywhere on the same level as either the original or Sorcerer because both of those films were absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Sorcerer for me is a 10 out of 10, but and the Wages of Fear is also like maybe a 10 out of 10 for me. So this remake, I don't know. I believe it might be French,
Yeah.
but I'll be checking it out just because why not? But yeah, I don't know. We got the truth about the truth versus Alex Jones, which is going to be on Max. That's obviously some sort of documentary about Alex Jones. We have Transition. We got Sperm World on Hulu. The film follows intimate encounters between off-brand sperm donors and recipients as they exchange more than just genetic material.
Right.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Sure.
We have Powder Pup. This looks
Powder
like
puff.
it's about a dog who skis or maybe
What?
snowboards. Looks like maybe snowboard.
Man.
Snowboarding, snowboarding pup.
Hell yeah. Oh my
Dog.
god. Damn. They just that body does not match that face of that dog.
Nope.
Not even
Nope.
close.
Not even close. We have The Beautiful Game on Netflix. The soccer, some sort of soccer film with looks like Bill Nighy's in that. We have Polar Rescue. Got Mad Props.
Mad props.
Mad Props. I think that's a documentary about film props or something like that.
Mm.
We got Rest in Peace on Netflix. We got The Listener. We have The Lie, The Murder of Grace Millane. Also on Netflix, we have Heart of the Hunter. Uh, Handle with Care, The Legend of the Nautic Streetball Crew.
The what?
The Nautic Streetball Crew.
The Nautic Street Ball.
Yeah,
Crew.
Notic. Streetball doc. The collective from Canada in the early 2000s.
Huh. Actually looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, it does. We have Finest Kind. We got Snow Valley. Got Lousy Carter. Got Sue Bird in the Clutch. Is that another basketball documentary? I believe it might be. Yeah. Follows the life of WNBA star Sue Bird. And then finally we have Light, which looks like it's a sci-fi one. Okay, on Blu-ray this week, we have Phase 4 from 1974. We got Spanish Bloodbath from 1974. We got The Playgirls and the Vampire from 1960. We have Five Card Stud from 1968. Primal Fear from 1996. Went out in 4K. Iron Claw. Got Amelie. Steelbook. Burial Ground from 1981. Let's see. All Ladies Do It from 1993.
Every single one.
Every one of them. They Drive by Night from 1940. Closed Circuit from 1978. That one looks interesting. Got the Bounty Hunter trilogy. Let's see. When Evil Lurks is getting a Blu-ray release. Bubble Bath from 1980. Stand and Deliver from 1988. Man on the Brink from 1981. Sure from 1980. North Dallas 40 from 1979. Going South. Media Book. 1978 on that one. Going South Media Book. Huh. Money Talks from 1997. Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen. Dracula, Prisoner of Frankenstein from 1972. Night of the Blood Monster from 1970. Patrick.
Yeah.
Night of the Blood Monster? I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not either, but I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
You're telling me there's a blood monster?
Yeah. Patrick, 1978. That's a classic. That's a horror classic right there. Australian horror classic, I believe. Where the Devil Roams. Zombie Army from 1991. Night Siren. Got The Crow Salvation from 2000. Simon Killer from 2012.
Simon Killer.
Yeah, haven't thought about that movie for a while. That was like one of the very first movies that we kind of like reviewed on here, and we had the direct. Did we have the director on?
I think you had the director and Corbett, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember talking to Brady Corbett. Anyway, The Inspector Wears Skirts 2 from 1989. Snapshot from 1979. And I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I'm kind of interested in here. Everything, Good Burger 2, Everything to Entertain You, The Story of Video Headquarters. Blind Faith from 1989. There's so many. Holy crap.
Yeah, what is happening here?
And there's a ton of VOD stuff this week too. All right, we'll call it there. What do we got on Criterion?
Trying to get a bunch of shit in before Easter, I guess.
Yeah.
God, who knew? Now we got two. We got Saint Omer from 2022 Alice Diop movie.
Mm-hmm.
Won a bunch of awards. And then To Die For from Gus Van Sant and Nicole Kidman, 1995.
We covered this on the 90s show a while back.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was okay.
Good stuff.
Decent little satire.
Oh, man.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. If you could, consider giving us a review on iTunes. That'd be great. For Kevin Rakeshaw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week. All right, let's talk about some spoilers for You'll Never Find Me. So basically, it's all in his head. So
All in
that's that's the twist.
it's
That's
his
the twist. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
the thing I have a problem with. I don't see this guy having issues with his conscience.
No, I mean he seems like a monster, and it doesn't seem like
Like, come on now.
yeah.
Which means that she should know what's happening.
He should definitely know what's happening from the
'Cause
beginning. That's
and
the
it's
thing. So that's the thing that I was thinking about afterwards is like there's this whole scene where she's alone in like, there's multiple scenes where she's alone trying to escape from the trailer, or she's like digging around trying to find information and stuff, and it's like that doesn't make sense to me.
you're not
Like
real.
why would we be spending time with her apart from him? Like, is he imagining her like digging through his stuff and trying to escape? And if so, like, where's he at during this? Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, those scenes in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, that's where, like, and that's the stuff that I was talking about, where it's like, once the reveal is there, and then you kind of go back, it's like, well, none of that makes sense, really. And like, so it's like a fabrication in his mind. Why would he be fabricating or like daydreaming about her like rifling through stuff in another room? And then furthermore, like he still has to best her in some way. But at the same time, like he doesn't know who she is until like just none of it works for me for it being all in his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just, and it was interesting because there was like her looking at like some of the knickknacks and stuff, and it was like, wow, she seems to know something. And then like the earring thing,
The
and I was
earring,
like,
yeah.
okay, it was like, well, shit, well, how'd that happen? Because like they've been together the whole time. Like, when did this happen? And I don't remember him being in the bed.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, he still had to like I said, he still had to best her in some way. It just
Yeah.
didn't quite make sense.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make sense, and I think that it's just kind of sloppy. The sloppy reveal. It's like we've seen it so many times before. I mentioned High Tension. I mentioned, or we like American Psycho is another one that's sort of done in the same vein.
Identity. You remember
I
Identity?
I do remember Identity. Yes, unfortunately, I remember Identity, and of course, there's Fight Club, and there's so many other movies that deal with this whole thing where it's like, oh, it's all in his head.
And I just don't see him having that like crisis of conscience.
Well, I guess
Like,
part of it is the drugs, like that whole thing. So I guess him taking the GHB is what brought it on. But I still agree with you that it doesn't. That I don't know that in and of itself would be enough, because you would think that if it manifests itself like this, that he would have some sort of guilt. And I don't see it.
but man, everything up until then,
Yeah,
so good,
it's
so
great.
good.
All right, so that's You'll Never Find Me on Shudder.